Can you guys hear me now? Let's see. You guys have sound? I'm not showing any problem with that. Oh, good. Good. Okay. I think there's just a little bit of a lag, guys. That's okay. That's normal. There's a little bit of a gap from when I actually say it to the time it actually gets to you guys. So, okay. Are you guys excited? We are going to be making some gnomes, and we are also going to be making a gift card holder. This is a close to my heart night. Friday nights I usually do something using something from close to my heart, and it's a really quick project, so I wanted to give you guys something else to go with it. And I apologize, I don't have but half my makeup on. I probably look horrible, but we're going to dinner after I get through here, and I just ran out of time, so I didn't get to finish getting dressed. So, is everybody having a good week so far? Good weekend coming up? It's our busy time of the year. So, if you have any questions, just as normal, go ahead and ask them. Put your questions in caps so the mods can see them, and then take your caps off if you guys don't mind. That way, if they get busy, they can still see that you ask your question, and it's easier for me as well. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Let's go over. Let me give you guys the files first so that you have those. So if somebody wants to type in the number for them, I greatly appreciate it. And we may get hit here in just a second with when I go over to this other monitor with subscribers that have subscribed in the last day, because I didn't clear them out. I'm sorry. But we're going to try. Yeah, we're going to get hit with them. See if I can stop. There's skip. Okay. That's out of the way. Okay. Guys, this is basically, you're going to think basically a triangle, but I did unlock it and I did stretch it. And this is for our gnome hats for the gnome project later on. If you want that file, it's 185840045. Okay? It's 185840045. Hey Gerald, we're just getting started. And the reason I'm saying, I'll tell you're probably going to want that because I'll show you why once we get over to the gnome. And then this is a free file for everybody tonight too, and this is a gift card file for gift cards, and the file number on that is 185-687-357. And if you're a Ko-fi supporter or a Patreon supporter, you already got that in the post in those streams over on their sites. Again, it's 185-687-357. That is the gift card. The first one was the gnome hat, and the second one was the gift card. And it's pretty simple how that goes together. We're not going to be using Design Space again unless somebody has a question and we have to bring it up and show them something on screen where the mods can't answer it. Thank you, Jamie. And thank you to all my supporters and all of my moderators as well. Let's go over to the overhead. New subscriber. Yay. Welcome, Barbara. Okay, so tonight, and don't laugh, my gnome has bangs instead of a mustache because I messed up. So hopefully I won't mess up again. Yay, welcome Cynthia. So, but I'm going to have a boy and a girl gnome. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. But before we do, we're going to do our Close to My Heart. And I took my photos before and realized I forgot to put my bell on. So I'm going to make sure that I don't do that this time. And it's a really cute little gift card holder. You're going to need about an 8-inch piece of elastic, 8th inch elastic. These are scraps off of something that I saved. I'm like, oh, I like that red elastic. I'll do something with it. So any 8th inch elastic that matches your project will work. And you need about an 8-inch piece. Okay. You're going to need a jingle bell. And then I used out of the bulk, the Holly Jolly pack is this red and white. And on the back it's, let me grab it really quick. It's green. And that is from the bulk pack 428 on Close to My Heart. There's a link down below if you guys need that. And then I also, for my base, I used a 80 pound because this is a little thin. This is more for my decor. And this is more for the strength of the box. I wouldn't go heavier than 80 pound, but this is some Basil Avalanche White that I used for it. And then the one that we're doing tonight, I am using from the bulk pack, the Cedar and Pine bulk pack. This one's the Holly Jolly, okay? And then this one is the Cedar and Pine, 429, bulk 429. And we're going to use the reverse side of that. Now, I wanted to show this to you guys. So when you lay it out, if you want your stripes or whatever to match and be like they should be on the box, you'll want to line it up that way. And make sure that this piece is all the way over. And then you just have to nudge this piece over just a little bit to get it to line up. And then your stripes should match when you put them on your box. Super easy, super simple. Let me move this mouse out of my way so that I can put this together for you guys. Don't worry about my caution tape. I haven't pulled it off of there yet. So the first thing we want to do is get our glue. And I'm using art glitter glue. And I'm just going to, and you can use your Tombows, whatever you like. I like the art glitter glue. It grabs fast, dries clear and matte. And then I'm just going to line that up on that cardstock and hopefully get it straight. And that's why I like it, because I'm a messy gluer. And I get it everywhere. And then we're going to put some on our strip on the second, and there are score lines in there, guys, and that's what I'm putting them on. I'm just not folding yet. I'm putting them right in between those score lines, and you can see how my lines are lining up on that. Get the glue off. So if you lay it out right, your lines will line up. I may be a little hair off, but that's okay. And then this piece has holes in it, and of course that's going to go in the section that has the holes. Oops. And I may have to glue down some corners. And then we're just going to put that in there. The holes should line up. And then your next piece. Super simple, super quick. You can get a couple of these out of a 12 by 12 sheet. And then the last one. Now, if you're using a solid cardstock, it won't matter. You don't have to worry about your lines. You can probably get more out of a sheet. And then this piece, I am putting my textured side to the back. And if you had your Cricut write the name or whatever on there, it should be fine. Just going to kind of line that up on there. And then we have our little tag, and you can stamp an image on the back, write their name on it, however you want to do that. If you're doing the foil quill or foiling, you can do that as well. Next, you're just going to fold everything on all of its score lines. Just fold them away from you. And my glue is not completely dry yet, so my corners may lift up. Make sure your corners and everything are dry before you start folding. Or fold and then put your pieces on however you want to do it. Okay, and then we have the 3 tabs down the side. We're just going to fold those. Everything is folded away from you if you have your pattern side to you. Now, very important, do this before, because I forgot to put my bell on this one, and trying to do this after can be a real pain. So make sure you do this before. And you're going to take your elastic and from the back of your tag, just pull it through. So it's just like this on your tag. And then we're going to put the bell on. Or whatever decor you might be using. So it's just like this, and then you're going to place it into the holes, flip it over, and pull that elastic through. Okay, and then just even up your edges, and about 1 inch down you're going to tie a knot, just like you would a balloon or whatever. And it can be a little daunting. Try to be anyway. I dropped a piece of my elastic. A fork would probably be easier so I could just thread it through, but I didn't bring one in here. It wants to be a booger. There we go. I'm just going to run those ends through. One of them wants to flip back out, but I'm not going to let it get in there. There we go. Just about 1 inch from the top. Tie your knot and let it go. And that's why you want to have the 80 pound, because you don't want to tear the hole, okay? And so it should look just like that. Then you're just going to push your little side tabs in. And this is the front, so I'm going to glue mine this way, with this tab going to the back. I know that looks like the front, but the side with the holes in it is actually the back. And you're just going to run your glue on that tab and fold it over. And just keep it square. Give it a second to grab hold. Oh, thank you, Pat and Susan. So again, little tab in, tab to the back. Oops, that's my front tab. Like so. And then we're just going to put the glue here so that the tab goes to the back of the box. So when they're looking at it the front, it's nice and smooth here. And guys, you can even stamp a sentiment up here before you fold this and glue it. Put a little message right there for them. Just give a second. And now you can drop the gift cards and even a piece of chocolate like the Andes candies or this little miniatures. Those will fit in there too with the gift card, so you can do a couple of those. And then you just fold this top over. And then bring your elastic around and slide your tag right up. How cute is that? I bent that. I missed my glue right there. That's why it's important to glue the corners, guys. You don't want that, like that elastic, to pull it up. So make sure you get those corners glued really good on all 4 corners. Simple, cute, quick, easy. Gift card holders. Very easy. The kids can help you with these. Let them glue the stuff on. Let them, you know, string the bells and stuff. So now we're going to, let me cap my glue off here. For your gnomes, guys, you are going to need, and they are very popular here. Oh, thanks, guys. Tons of things you can do with them, papers and everything. So all different kinds of papers. Throw some Christmas candies in there. So get your pencil and paper because you're going to need a list. I did not make this list and put it down below because you may not be able to get everything on the list in your area. Okay, so you're going to have to improvise. That's what I had to do. Several people are making these. They're very popular. There are several videos. And this is just my version. I kind of took a little bit of knowledge that I already had and some of the stuff that they were doing. I'm like, yeah, I'll use the same stuff they're using. Yeah. But this is the problem I ran into. In my area, these are so popular that there are no cotton mops. I went to 6 stores. 6. And nobody had a cotton mop. They can't keep them. I mean, as soon I walked in the door and said, do you have any cotton mops? They said, nope. If you're making gnomes, they're gone. So, that's how popular they are. So I improvised. And I like this yarn right here. It's a fleece yarn. But you don't want to be pulling on it and unraveling it too much because you'll pull all the fleece out because of the way that it's made. If you want to sew, because we're doing this as a no-sew, you can stop that from happening by stitching yours to a ribbon. And I'll get into that as we start putting it together and tell you how to do that. So to make your gnome, you're going to need several things. And I'm going to give you things that you can use instead of, as well as what I used. So I got the Yarn Bee Fleece Light from Hobby Lobby. It's $5.99. I used a 40% coupon on it, so I got it for, I don't know, $2 or $3. And you could probably, of the small gnomes, get 5 or 6 out of this pack. Okay? So the cost on that, I forgot what it was. I added all of this up, including the glue sticks, and it was like $2.60 something. But it's going to depend on what you use as to how much yours costs. So I said under $3. But it's going to be close. You're going to need a jingle bell or a pom-pom for his hat. Okay? It's totally up to you. What do you want to use? A pom-pom or a jingle bell. And I had bells, but I priced them. You get 20 to 35 in a pack, so I priced it on the high end at 20, so a nickel for a bell. So you're going to be somewhere between a penny and a nickel on those. You're going to be within, I think, like a 60-cent range on your yarn. If you divide the cost of this by 6, because I'm pretty sure you'll get about 6 of them out of that. Then I got fabric. And if you've got scrap fabric on hand, use it. But this is 97 cents for a fat quarter at Walmart. Okay? It's not fleece. Fleece will work a little bit better, but I wanted to be sure that we could do it out of this, and you can. So fleece gives you a little bit of stretch and a little bit of give for the hat, but you don't have to have it. So if you've got a scrap piece of fabric, use it. I cut this on the Cricut. I did give you guys the link before, and if you need it again, we'll go with it again. But yeah, you're just any scrap fabric. And the reason I wanted you guys to have it, that file is not just a triangle, because I set it up. I cut a 12 by 12 piece out of the fat quarter, and this is what's left out of it and this piece is left out of it after I cut my 12 by 12. So this is extra fabric for whatever project you might have later on. You can make chapstick holders, anything out of this. So you've got plenty of leftovers. But here is the piece that I cut out of it on the Cricut. And yes, you're supposed to iron it, but I was short on time and I did not. So I cut mine just like that. And I got that out of there. But because of the way that I laid that out and stretched it, if you take this piece here and fold it over, guess what? You got two hats. All you got to do is snip this off right here. So now I have enough for two hats out of a 12 by 12 piece, and I have extra. So I'm at about 40 cents, 47 cents, something like that per hat. And then I have extra. So it's actually about 40 cents worth of fabric for each hat. And if you're using this one, you're just going to do the seam that we do here in a little bit. You're going to do it on both sides. This one, we're going to fold in half. That's the only difference. One of them's going to have two seams. But totally doable. The next thing you're going to need is socks. And I saw her on one of the videos that I was looking at to see if I could catch any pointers or tips from any knowledge that I may have. And she said to use these big socks, but I didn't make mine that big. But it doesn't matter. You can use a footy sock for the size that I'm doing if you want to. But I did learn that black is better because I got one of my white ones and I said I'll just use this one for the one I'm doing tonight. But because I'm using a bag of rice, you can use a bag of beans. It depends on how big you want your gnome to be. Okay? You can use either one. The beans are going to cost you more, of course. I paid 74 cents for the 1 pound bag of rice. So that's what I'm using. You can use whatever you want. You can use split peas or lentils, whatever's on sale at the grocery store. You know, you can use that. So 74 cents. Using the black, it's going to be one way or the other. Either you're going to have to do extra of the yarn to cover where the blue shows through the white sock on here, or you're going to have to cover this in some way so that it doesn't show and use a white sock, and then you wouldn't have to use as much yarn, or do it like I did using the black and I just doubled up on the yarn and I thought it looked better. So at the dollar store, it's $1. You get 4 socks. So that's 4 gnomes. You got a quarter into that. So you're getting 4 gnomes out of that. So you're got a quarter in that. And if you're a crafter, you probably have twine, any kind of twine, string, yarn, whatever you have will work. Anything to tie off the top. That's all you need. So, I mean, whatever you got in your scrap pile will work. Ping pong balls. I got 6 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. So, and I had paint on hand. I didn't have any flesh colored paint. So all I did was mix some brown tan paint that I had and some ivory and came up with my paint color. And I mean, I just used a little dot of both. It doesn't take much at all. And I found the easiest way to paint it is just like this. I have a spool of ribbon, and I took my pokey tool and stuck it right down into the spool. It has to have a hole small enough that you can just shove that in there so it's tight. And I put my ping pong ball right on the pokey tool and painted it and let it dry. And it's ready to go. Doesn't matter, that's where we're going to stick the hole. It's not going to show. So very easy. And use probably, well, I'm not even going to count the paint because we probably all have paint, and I know I didn't use but a dime size amount of it. You're also going to need Teflon or some kind of protective sheets, parchment paper if you don't have that. Parchment paper will work. That's all you need. And then I'm using liquid stitch because I have it. You can use heat bond tape, liquid stitch. Any of your fabric glues will work. Okay, this stuff is just iron on, and it's really fast, really quick, and I got to use my Cricut Mini Easy Press. So that was double fun. Okay, and then a popsicle stick or whatever, just so you don't burn yourself. You're going to need probably 3 or 4 glue sticks. Okay, you're going to need your glue gun, and then I'm using the top of a box, and that's because he's about the same height as my gnome. You want it a little bit taller than what your gnome is going to be, okay? Just so that you can use a piece of cardboard, doesn't matter, anything. Anything stiff that you have will work, as long as it is the height of your gnome or longer. But you want it maybe a couple of inches, within a couple of inches of the height of your gnome. So the first thing you're going to do is take your sock, and we're going to put it on the rice. And this is important too. Stand him up. How floppy do you want him to be? Do you want him to be loose or tight? All up to you. Doesn't matter. Okay? Just however you want it. And that's where you're going to take your twine. I'm just going to cut a piece off here. And we're going to go around the top and tie it off. If you catch the bag of rice in there, the tip of it, the plastic, doesn't matter. Oops, I stretched that one too tight, didn't I? You don't want to break your cord like I did. It didn't have to be that tight, April. I don't know if that was a weak spot in there. Just cut another piece off. So let's try that again. Just tie it off nice and tight. There we go. And tie it in a knot. And then it probably isn't necessary. I wrapped mine around a couple of times, both ways, and tied it one more time. Okay, and I'm just gonna cut that off short, and then I'm gonna cut the top of the sock off. And you can use this for whatever, if you've got other, I don't want it in my yarn though. Whatever you need to use it for, if you want to use it for something. You could probably tie off both ends and get another gnome out of it, honestly. So that would take your cost down to 12 cents per gnome. Just saying. Run a stitch across the bottom if you have a sewing machine. I tried to do this as a no-sew, but you can sew. You can sew the hat, you can sew the sock, and I'm going to show you that you can sew this. Or if you're using a cotton mop, you can do that as well. So however you want to save the money on it, knock it down even less money, you can do that. Right. You don't want to take your rice out of there. Jamie's absolutely right. Your rice and your beans can push through your sock. So if I had a liner fabric around it, that would be different. If you made like a liner pouch, say out of your fabric, and then you could stick it in there, because you could totally do that with the extra fabric that's left over from cutting your hat. You could take this piece right here and make a bag for the rice and then put that down in the sock if you want to do that. It's just extra work, and then, you know, to me, you're using fabric that could be used to make a hat instead. But that's basically all there is to making your gnome base, okay? And I forgot to plug my glue gun in. Let me plug that in real quick. So while that is plugged in, I'm going to heat up my little easy press. We're just going to let that heat for a second. I'm I'm trying to keep my desk cleared off as much as I can, guys, so you might hear me rolling back and forth. I'm going to take the end of my yarn, and because this is about the height of my gnome right here, I am just going to start wrapping yarn around it. Doesn't matter if it's in the same spot all the way around, but if you keep it this way, because if you keep winding it over each other, some of your strands are going to be longer. And it won't matter because you're going to trim them anyway, but you're just actually wasting your material if you do that. But if you spread it out, they will all be the same length. I'm just going to wind it around. And I accidentally pulled this. Make sure you pull your yarn from the inside like you're supposed to right there. I grabbed the wrong end when it came out of the pack, and so mine's pulling off from the outside instead of the inside. And that's why it flops around and does that. And I'm just going back over it a couple of times. This is probably more than I'll need, but it's okay if you're making several of them, because I'm going to make a big gnome too, then you can use it. So I'm just wrapping around several times, whatever you think you'll need. And I'm just going to cut that off. And we're going to set that to the side. Just going to go ahead and take out a bell. I think I'll do a gold bell on this one. Okay, now my little easy press is heated up. I'm actually going to iron my fabric now, which I should have done before I cut it. Some of the sock fuzz off of there. Let's bring the little mini guy in. Guys, get it while it's on sale. I'm just going to iron out the wrinkles on this. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it to lay a little flatter than what it was. It had a little seam there. So with the right sides together, try to stay in camera for you guys on this. I'm just going to bring this over, okay, just like that. And then we're going to take our liquid stitch, and this stuff is really thin, so be careful, you don't want to get it everywhere. This is an iron-on liquid stitch, okay. I'm trying to keep that in camera and on my mat. And then you're just going to run, as a matter of fact, I'll just open it up so you guys can see. Just going to run a bead right down and you want a good solid bead of it. That's all you need. And I think that was like $3 and change, and you can see I'm not using anything out of it really. And then we're just going to fold this over and press it down with our fingers, just like that. Then we're going to put our Teflon sheet over it, and I'm doing this on setting 2. You could probably get by with setting 1. And then we're just going to press, and you'll hear it sizzling. Well, you may not be able to. I hope my camera picked that up so you guys can hear it. But we're just going to iron it. It's going to sizzle. I'm going to peel that off. You can see that it is shining through there, and that's okay. Cover that in, and we're going to make it sizzle. I believe it's supposed to be used on like a wool setting. I just knocked my glue gun on the floor. And that's basically all you do. And let it cool. And then you're just going to turn it right side out. I mean, that's how quick it is. You could probably sew that just as fast. And I use my bone folder as well. I usually have a stick here that's used for like stuffing. I've got my popsicle stick there. Because it is going to go down to a point, pretty pointy. You don't want to use anything sharp. But you're just going to turn your fabric. And you're not going to get that very tip-top point out. It's going to be similar to that right there. And that's okay, because that's where your bell is going to go. You could probably take a straight pin or your pokey tool if you want to get it out of there and want it to come to an extreme point. You can get it out. Just work with it. But if you want to leave it flat, your bell or your pom-pom will sit right there. And you can sew that on the end or you can hot glue it. Either one. Totally up to you. And that is all there is with the Easy Press. So then you need your hot glue gun. Everybody with me so far? Let's see. Yeah, you could use a regular iron, Virginia. Absolutely. It's just an iron-on instant bond. You don't have to wait on it to dry. Any of your fabric glues will work. This is just super quick and super easy. That's why I used it. I had it, so I'm like, why not? It'll be quick and easy, and I get to use my little mini press. So you can just set your hat to the side, and now we're gonna work on the front of this little guy. But actually I wanted to see, you can cut this off where it's straight across if you want to right there, guys. That's totally up to you. It does go on the gnome a little bit better. Okay. So I just trimmed off that little point at the back. But you want to make sure that it's going to fit around your gnome, and it is, and it's going to be loose because there's no yarn on there yet, okay? So that's all we wanted to see, is make sure that it fits, and we can set it to the side. Then we're going to work on his nose. And all I'm going to do is put some hot glue right there where I poked a hole in it with my pokey tool. And I'm going to put his nose right about there. Now, when I did this one, don't make the same mistake that I did. The seam of the ping pong ball is running this way. Make sure you guys put it on the flat back side so that your seams end up on the side. And I didn't notice that when I painted it until I started getting ready for the live tonight. So now we've got our nose on there. I am going to hot glue my bell on, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. That way I don't lose it in all of this. So just a little hot glue. And I'm going to put it right there on that tip. And I'm just going to let that sit to dry over here on my other Teflon mat. So now we have that. You're going to come back to your thread, or your yarn, I should say, not thread. And this is the tricky part. I'm just going to cut off one length. See if I can get it under there. You could probably put it on there first. Be easier. I'm just going to, just to hold it, because I don't want it to go everywhere. And then I'm just going to go through and cut. Okay, and then I'll use this one too. But before I do, I'm not gonna, I want to cut it in half, okay? So I'm just gonna let it stand up on there. Well, I was gonna let it stand up on there. You want to keep it all together. Don't want it going everywhere. Just gonna lay it out, and then I'm just gonna go right on the other side of my box. So they're all basically the same length. That's it. That's all we're doing. Now you just pop it all right there in the box. And you have all your strands ready. So now we're just going to take, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right there, and I'm going to start and go around his nose. We want to kind of cover that in strategic points throughout, and this is where your popsicle stick comes in. You just want to work it around so that you're not getting in the hot glue. The fleece can get a little bit messy if you're not careful. Like I said, the cotton mop is ideal, but this worked for me. And we're just going to run 2 or 3 beads of this. Around the nose. And glue stick time. So I had almost a stick in there. So right now we're working on glue stick number 2. Because I forgot to count them yesterday, so I don't really know how many you'll need. And it's going to depend on how heavy you glue too. But I think I used 4, maybe 5. So I'm going to do one more around. Maybe 2. Not quite meeting right there. That's okay. You can stretch it just a little bit. Let's do one more. I really didn't want to stick the stick into the glue, but I did. It's not going to hurt anything if it gets on the sock. Okay, so now we've covered that around his nose. And next you're going to start at the top, and you're just going to bring these, you don't have to cover the top up here. The hat's going to go up here. And the way that I did it is literally I just put like a bead of glue, and then I just grabbed a few and stuck them on. You just want to get them to stick. Yes, you're going to do the cotton mop the same way. You're just going to pop that plastic piece out of it. Teresa, there's a plastic piece in the center. Some have wood. Some are stitched already. If you can find those that are like restaurant quality that have the stitching where it's stitched across there, those are ideal because you can cut it the length that you want and then cut it up above the stitching and the binding that's on there and just wrap it right around this, and you won't have to do this. And that's the thing. You can take some of these and just cut one and have all your ends, and you can put those on a ribbon or whatever and stitch them if you want to, so that you have that where you can just wrap it around. But it's a lot of extra work when it's like this. But the industrial mops that already have, I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. It's got like a binding tape and it's stitched. You can cut above that, not cutting the binding tape, and then cut your cotton mop down below it the length that you need, and it's going to be in one band, and you can just wrap it right around, and boom, you're done. And then you can unravel the cotton. Where you can't really unravel this, you can unravel the cotton and get that furry look, I call it the sheepdog look. So tons of stuff that you can do with the cotton one. Like I said, I just couldn't find one, so I'm improvising with this, and it worked just fine. So whatever works best for you, if you can get it. I really wanted the cotton mop, but I'm happy with the results of this as well. Yes, you can glue it to a piece of ribbon, any of that. So you can glue it, you can sew it, tons of stuff. And I'm just trying to keep, but all I did was basically go around. It's pretty quick. If they fall off, don't worry about it because you're going to go back and do another layer. So if you've got loose ones, let them fall off. Just stick them in the hot glue. Because we're going to go around a couple of times. And you can see I'm not paying attention to the top. My hat's going to cover that. Not a big deal. Don't care what it looks like up there. Just giving that a minute to cool. Get another glue stick. Stuck my fingernail in the glue. And I'm just using my popsicle stick so I don't burn myself. And then you're going to be down here at the front. Doesn't matter if it's longer. You're going to trim this up when it's done. What I did was I lifted mine up, okay, and got several strands. This is how I did the bangs, but it was supposed to be a mustache, so make sure your mustache is below the nose. But this right here is the side. This is more of the hair. So just get you a good glob of glue right there and go up under that one slightly. And you can do this part first and then go around at the top. Totally up to you. Okay, and you can see how that's starting to fill out. And now you're going to do this lower front. And if you're unraveling, you can't do your glue like that because it won't unravel once you get to that point. These need to be pretty much even right here. This is my base layer. I'm going to do another layer over that, and that's where, if you want to give them a mustache, that's where you'll do it. But this layer can be pretty much on there. In any way you can get it on there. You just want it to kind of go up, right up under what we went around. Needs another one right there. Oops. That's what I mean about the fleece. It can get messy if it tries to unravel on you. But it's forgiving as far as hiding the darker areas. So you're just going to have to keep standing them up and looking at them and seeing where you need it. And now I'm going to do layer 2 right here. And this is the layer that's important to keep it even and straight. And we're going to go right up under his nose. And like I was saying, if you're unraveling, make sure that you don't go too deep with your glue because you won't be able to unravel it all the way. You just want to stay at the ends. And this is probably going to be better one at a time. He's so cute. Okay. And I might even do one more layer there. But for time purposes, this is basically what you're going to do all the way around. And I'm going to do another layer. So I may have to cut more yarn. I didn't probably cut enough. But I'm just adding in places to hide. And you're just going to keep going around until you've got this as full and as covered as you want it. And you can see this one's pretty much covered. With me handling it, you can see black areas under it. But when he's standing up, you can't see any. And that's what you want to look at, okay? You want to just take a look and make sure that it's covered in there. So go through and repeat and put another layer all the way around. I'm going to do... Oh, that one got loose, didn't he? So now I'm on glue stick number 3. I think. I lost count. Yeah, I didn't cut enough. I should have went around my board one more time. I had extra yesterday. I'm just going to run some glue there. And then we're just going to lay them all out. I may have enough. Let's see. Oh, that one's super long. He didn't get cut, did he? Then we're just going to press them all down. And you want to shake it and make sure there's none loose. If they're loose, you want to get them, of course, stuck down. I'm just going to patch those back in there. Anywhere that there's glue, if your popsicle stick is sticking, you want to probably pop another piece in there. There we go. How cute is he? Okay, and I know he looks a little scraggly and rough now, guys, but he's going to shape up here in just a second. I forgot my can. Give me just a second. I forgot to tell you guys, you're going to need some kind of can, something round. You're going to sit him up on there, okay? And that's how you're going to give him a haircut, so you know where to cut it off at. Super easy and simple. But we're going to take his hat, and all I'm going to do is just fold it under just a slight little bit all the way around. And you can glue that. You can just do it. Finger press it is what I call. All the way around. And you can decide what side you want your seam, which side you want your hat to go to. And that's the side that I'm putting my seam on, but it's totally up to you. And then you're just going to bring it down over. I haven't put glasses. I was going to cut some cardstock glasses for my other one, and I haven't done it yet. And this is where the fleece would work a little bit better, in my opinion. But I had the fabric, and so I'm like, I'm just going to use it. I had bought it to do a couple ornaments with. And I'm just kind of where I had pressed it, I'm just pulling that over and pulling it down. And I'm just covering all the ends of my yarn with my gnome hat. So it's a pretty good tight fit on there. And oops, my glue gun came unplugged when I got up. So I'm just going to take my glue gun and I'm just going to, if you can see, I'm just kind of pinching it to give it some relief in there. And I'm just tacking that down. Just right along the edge. Don't get it on the front like I did. Now you can put iron-on on the hat, any of that stuff you want. Of course, you want to do that before you put it on him. And don't worry if you've got little stragglers like that. It's okay. They'll blend in the next step. There we go. Had to get that glue off of there. But I'm just going around and gluing the hat on my gnome. Making sure that the raw edge of the material gets stuck up in there. You might need your popsicle stick to help you. And if you've got any little area, I've got a little area right here where my hat isn't down far enough. Just kind of pull it loose and poke it and get it in there and then shoot your glue in there again. That's bothering me. So we're just gonna keep working around. Oops, I see a place right there where my fabric didn't get tacked. If that happens, you can fix it. You can fix it with the fabric glue or just a little spot of glue. And I may have pulled that apart when I turned it. My other one took a lot of pulling and I couldn't get it apart, but I think it's more of a missed area. Oops. Got his nose. You got to watch his nose. Okay. Trying to get that glue. Time to cool. There we go. And now his hat is on there. And if you want your hat to stay in a certain position, you'll need to tack that down. Again, you can sew it, you can stitch it, you can put a little dab of glue and glue it. And I like the little wrinkles in there and stuff. I don't want it to be all smooth and frou-frou. So then we're going to make sure all of the strands are out of the way, and you're going to sit them up on top of the can. And this is where you can turn them and look and see if you need more of the yarn anywhere. And then you're going to give them a haircut. And all I'm going to do is make sure that my scissors are right there at the rim of the can. And each time I'm going to snip. Because I can feel the blade up on the rim of the can. And so I know that I'm cutting in exactly the right spot all the way around. And again, whatever size bag of rice or beans that's going to determine your height, how big your gnome is, how wide he is. So that's the way you do that. Now if you want a mustache, because he's all trimmed up, he's nice and neat. Flip him over so you guys can see. And it's all the same length. Can of beans, that's all it takes. So now if you want to make a mustache, now is where you take all these little pieces and then you make his mustache and you trim it up. Okay? So basically same thing. You're just going to glue those on right at the front, right up under his little nose, to give you plenty to work with and you're not exposing your sock underneath. And just use your and that's the tricky part as far as getting that straight. When you trim it, that's going to be all you. Because it takes a little bit of practice and you're going to make sure you don't cut too deep. All of that stuff. Now I'm just going to go right over the top of that again. And I had 5 glue sticks out and I got one left. I only took 5 out. So I'm going to say 5 glue sticks or less to do this. And try not to get it on his nose like I did right there. I'm sticking a short one in there as kind of a guide as to where I want to cut it. That kind of gives me a general idea. Where to start. Get some red string in there for my fabric. Okay. So now we have all of these shorter strands right here. And some of them are longer, but I'm gonna hope for the best. Worst case scenario, we have to add a few strands somewhere. Lift it up and add. And I'm just going to cut it off. Oh, he's so cute. My glue is not dry yet. So these I will, after my glue gets good and set, I will go through and I will fluff those like I did here. Just kind of fluff them out to give him that mustache look. So I've got a girl and a boy, one with bangs, one with a mustache. Or that's what I'm saying anyway, to cover up my goof up yesterday. So that's how you can make your gnomes for under $3, guys. And they'll sit just about anywhere because you have the rice or beans. Great for door stops, any of that kind of stuff. You got a yard remnant. I used, Jan, I used a sock from the dollar store. Just a sock. And you really have enough. If you're using the 1 pound bag of rice, you can get 2 out of 1 sock. You just have to sew the end where you cut it for this one. But it's just a basic black sock. Nope. I made mine, what did I tell you ladies yesterday? $2.27 is what I had in mine. $2.27. Because you got to buy the socks anyway. And so you get 4 socks, but you're only making 1 per sock. So it's only $0.25 to make it. So that's how you figure, and that's how you price your crafts too. Just because you paid $1 for the socks doesn't mean I have $1 in this guy. I have $0.25 in the sock for this guy. I had to buy a pack of bells, but it had 35 bells in it, or 20 bells, whatever size pack you have, so that makes them anywhere from a penny to a nickel a piece. So each one of my gnomes is under $3. So to get all the stuff to make them, it might cost you, oops, I got a straggler there. It might cost you $6 to get all of the stuff to make it, but you could end up with 3 gnomes or 4 gnomes. So that's how you figure it. Yep, the men's sock is from the dollar store. Well, everything, the bells, well, actually the bells were from Walmart. They were 97 cents. But I already had some. I just priced what they had. And they're 20 bells, so about a nickel a piece. And then the fabric, you can get 2 hats and still have fabric left out of a fat quarter, which is 97 cents. So, you know, for $1, you've got 2 of your gnomes covered there. Your ping pong balls are 6 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. So you're going to get 6 gnomes out of that pack. And guys, you could use old socks. You can use old pair of blue jeans, stitch up the bottom, and you know, whatever. If a blue jeans, you wouldn't have to have the bag. You could dump the beans in it. You could and stitch it closed if you wanted to. You bought the material. You can't do it freehand, Sue? Yeah, you could do muslin strips, you could do ribbon, you could do yarn, you could do the cotton mop. The thing with the cotton mop is you can unravel it, where you can't really unravel this as much. You can, but it's going to become a mess because it's fleece. And it's got like a thread down the middle of it holding it together. But I liked the way that it was already curly. But the thing with the mop is you can unravel that and make it thicker and fluffier. And they were only $1 at the dollar store. And you could get 2 or 3 gnomes out of them. But like I said, I went to 6 different stores. I went to the Dollar Tree, went to Walmart, I went to Bargain Hunt, I went to Ollie's, I went to, I think it was a CVS. I hit 6 stores, and there were no cotton mops to be had. I used a ping pong ball for the nose, Jan. Just a ping pong ball, and painted it. I literally took my pokey tool, and you want to make sure that your seam of the ball is in your fingers. And you just want to put your pokey tool in there, just like that. Put it on a ribbon spool, paint it, and let it dry. Have a good night, Susan. Thank you. So that's basically it, guys. So make your gnomes and post them in the group. Let's look at them. Don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, Ko-fi and Patreon supporters. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let me lay that down so you guys can get a picture of the pair. Post yours online. Let's see. I mean, because there's so many different things that you could do. There's their little faces, Sue. And I got to go and fluff his mustache. Now, you can also do another one around this after you put his mustache on if you want to. That's totally up to you. Whatever look you want. They do, Pat. And I was going to say, you can use that. I think some of the nylon cords might be fun to work with on there. Just depends on what you want. So you guys go out there and look in the craft store, see what you can come up with, because everybody's doing mops. What can we do to make ours look different and still look cute and look nice? And I went with the yarn. They're all different types of yarn. They've got some of that great big fat stuff too. I think those would be adorable. So let's see what you can do and see what you can come up with. They all go together basically the same way no matter what you use. Like I said, if you got it on a ribbon or whatever, you can just wrap it around, but you will do 2 layers, and then you'll trim up your layers here, because you got to go around his nose regardless of what you do. And I thought about using a wood ball, guys. It's going to be too heavy for this method. If you're using, if you're doing, some of the others are doing, what was it, Sue, plastic eggs or something like that, then you might be able to get by with the wooden. But the ping pong ball is light, and it works perfect for this. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys tomorrow at noon. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to go to dinner and come back and brainstorm and see what I can come up with the project for tomorrow. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining me.